The number one reason we all play video games is for fun. Doesn't mean the second to second gameplay always has to be filled with high octane action, but that the overall experience is enjoyable. Now there are certainly different ways to come away from playing a video game with a feeling of fun, and there are different varieties of fun. But generally you come out the other side feeling satisfied, accomplished, relieved, basically feelings in that vein. So fun is different for everybody, and that's why it's entirely subjective, deciding what game modes, tactics, or even single missions are considered fun. You shouldn't let anyone else try and take away your experience, nor should you hastily dismiss someone else's opinion on what is fun. Therefore the best, or should I say the most fun modes, are entirely subjective and down to each individual. So considering Battlefront 2, especially if you've been around here for a long time and around all areas of communication and interaction, you would have and can still clearly see that the community can be divided into peeps who prefer one game mode over the other. There's no wrong opinions, but there are external factors and objective factors that can influence an opinion. One of the key ones being credit payout. So I thought I would play through a couple of matches and let you know which modes pay out the most and let you know the relative rankings from there onwards. So let's look at the 4 biggest modes first. Supremacy. The amount of credits depend on how long the game actually lasts. In my experience, it's mostly either one shipboard and done, or one shipboard and then only one counterboard and then done. Either way, the range for credits based on those longer scenarios is generally 400 to 600. Galactic Assault. GA matches can also end early if you have a good defending team, or, of course, some maps favor a quick defensive game, Camino, Endor, but generally on most maps the game stretches all the way to the final phase. It doesn't really matter if you win or lose from there. Getting high on the scoreboard will award more credits, acting as an incentive to help your team and get those points. With that, the typical range is 350 to 600, but if you're on the board it ranges from 500 and caps at around 920. Heroes vs Villains. HVV matches tend to vary in length and quality due to the number of factors such as maps, teammates, bugs, balancing. However, you can expect a range, if you stay in the bloody game, of 200 to 500. Co-op. I was actually surprised how little co-op paid out, especially considering how much you can farm everything else in the mode. I don't know why. Maybe it's made to balance it, make sure everyone doesn't just spend the entire session in co-op there grinding. But credits are kind of useless if you are a grinder, considering you'll probably have most, if not all, of the skins already. I don't know, weird, but the range is generally 100 to 250. Maybe you can pop a 300, but unlikely. Next, let's look at the 2 smaller hero modes, as well as the matchups of Blast and Ewok. Hero Showdown. The 2v2 battle simulator runs matches pretty quick and has a timer so the matches don't stretch out long. So no surprise then that the range runs from 140 to 350. Hero Starfighters. Surprisingly fun to revisit, the mode lasts slightly longer than Showdown, but still has a timer. Again, no surprise, it runs from 250 to 450. Blast. The staple team deathmatch that every FPS must have lasts 100 tickets. Maybe a little too long, but it generally nets credits in the range of 350 to 550. Ewok Hunt. This fun, spooky time nowadays generally lasts to Shuttlefall, so matches are fairly lengthy. Credit bonuses are, however, seemingly tied to winning as a Stormtrooper, so the range lies between 150 and 450. Finally, let's take a look at the 2 other excellent launch modes. Starfighter Assault. These matches are way more variable in terms of which phase they might end in. Unless you fly with a crew, you can't be sure how well or how bad the game will go. Thus time and performance vary, so the range will generally be around 300 to 600. Strike. Strike always surprises me with how long matches last. Even if some rounds finish up quickly, very few matches will end up 2-0, so the credits are more abundant here with a range of about 300 to 500. So, now we can rank the 10 modes by payout. 1. Supremacy. 2. Galactic Assault. 3. Starfighter Assault. 4. Blast. 5. Strike. 6. Heroes vs Villains. 7. Hero Starfighters. 8. Ewok Hunt. 9. Hero Showdown. 10. Co-op. These might make an impression and steer you one way or the other on your perception of the modes. If one surprised you, I encourage checking it out, and maybe if there's a mode you haven't been enjoying as much, maybe this will be a push you need. I know I am probably going to try and fit more Hero Starfighters in my sessions. It feels worth it for how much credits I could get in a shorter than expected time frame. Like I said, fun is subjective. I hope you got some insight from this little experiment and will continue to enjoy yourselves further.